Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I should point out that the sugyas of Shchiv Meirah in Shas is from the hardest sugyas in Shas. Intricate, it's not very interesting, and I give everybody credit for coming and joining us and participating. Now we're starting at the very top of Daf Kufn and Gimel Amud Aleph, sponsored by Shalom Fogel, Lili Nishmas, Yaakov Zev ben Yehuda Arya, Rivka bas Yaakov Yosef, Sivya Miriam bas Gad, Rabbi Yosef ben Tziyam ben Yaakov Zev, by Baruch Ian, Lili Nishmas, Yaakov Chaim ben Abba, Esther bas Yona, Avram ben Shmuel HaKohen, by Yaakov Yemansky, with Hakos Tov to the Rav and the Zoom family, Nachas from children and grandchildren, A.B. Spry, Nachas from children and grandchildren, Ed Salah from London, and Joshua Rosenberg. We also want to learn for Dr. Kurtz's father, who is very ill. My dear friend, Dr. Kurtz's father is 90, and he's really going through a rough time now in the hospital. Should have a refuah shalema b'sech shecher Yisrael. Now,
and we'd like to learn for your refuah shalema.
Yeah, also from Moshe Meir ben Esther Fradel, should have a refuah shalema b'sech shecher Yisrael. Now, we said that in the event that a Shchiv Meirah made a bequest, Chatzkel made a bequest, and he also made a kinyan, so we said that it can't be retracted. Once a kinyan is made, it's like a matnas bari. But Savar Mina, those that heard Shmuel say this, thought Tani Mili La'acher. That's if he wanted to back out and give it to someone else. Aval Atzbay Loi. But if he wanted to take it back for himself, that he should be able to do. However, the Gemara says that's not so, because Amalu Rav Chisda ki asa Rav Huna mi Kufri, when Rav Huna came from Kufri, Pirsha bein la'atzmai bein la'acherim. Even if he wants to retract and take it back for himself, he cannot do that once he made a kinyan. Ha'udekonomine, a sick person made a kinyan. Also the Kamed Rav Huna, he came before Rav Huna. What happened was, he got better, and he said, "Look, I meant a dying bequest. I got better. I want it back." Amar, so he said, "My Evelach, what can I do for you?" If you just would have made a death man's bequest, then it would be a matna shchiv meirah. If you get better, you'd be able to take it back. But you added a kinyan, you can't get it back. Now, here we have a little bit of a conundrum. It's a question. Ha'umatanta. What happened was, this Chatzkel made a gift, and it says, Davakosaba b'chayim u'b'mavas. He's giving it in life and in death. And then he got better. So Rav Amar Harihi Kaman Ashchiv Meirah is just a regular gift of a dying man, and since he got better, he could get it back. Ushmul Amar no Harihi Kaman Matnas Bari. He said B'chayim u'b'mavas. So the Gemara explains. Rav Amahari Kaman Ashchiv Meirah. Rav says it's like the gift of a dying man. Why? Midichsivba b'maves, in death. So it means that he's giving it because he's dying. Therefore, he got better. He gets it back. He said Meichayim. Midichsivba b'maves achamisa kamale. He says only if that meant only if he dies. Remember, he gave away everything. Nobody gives away everything. But it says b'chayim or b'mavis. Now, he just said b'chaim, hoping that he'll live. It was like a sign. B'chaim, I hope I'll live. U'shmul amano hari kamat nasbari. Because he said b'chaim. Medichsib b'chaim. B'chaim kama. I said, then why did he say b'mavis? She just said mechaim. B'chaim. Because of b'mavis, he meant from now and forever. Like ad olam. Command Amar me'atav ad olam, from now and forever. But since he said mechaim, it's like a gift of a healthy man, and therefore even if he gets better, the gift is still a gift. Now, Imrei Nardoi, Hilchas Kavase de Rav. The halacha is like Rav, that if he says b'chaim or b'maves, he means only if he dies. And he said b'chaim as a sign that he should live. Amar Rava v'iksiv b'meichayim. If instead of saying b'chaim, he says meicham. Meichayim is a lot different. Meichayim means from when he's alive. V'iksiv b'meichayim, then kana. Then the one who gave it to acquires it regardless. Amar HaMeimer, less hilchas kavase de Rava. The law isn't like Rava. Even if he says meichayim, it still has a din of matna shchimira. So Amalei Rav Ashi LaMeimer pshida da imri narda hilchas kavase de Rav. The law is like Rav, and we interpret meichayim just as a sign that he should live. Says the Gemara, no, I would think that Meichayim is different than Bichayim. Bichayim means that he should live. Meichayim means from now. Now the same Meichayim Moidei Rav. Rav would admit that, Kamash Malan, that he wouldn't admit it. Now, Ha'uda Asal Kami de Rav Nachman Lenarda. Now, Rav Narda was a city of Shmuel. So I would ask the Kamid Rav Nachman Larda in a case where the person said B'chaim u'b'maves. Now, according to Shmuel, B'chaim u'b'maves is a gift from life, and it can't be retracted. Rav holds it just means he should be gesund, but it's only a gift if he dies. So, but he didn't want to paskin that way in Narda, because in Narda was the place of Shmuel, so he didn't want to pass. He held that the halach was like Rav, but he didn't want to paskin against Shmuel in the place of Shmuel. Narda was the place of Shmuel. So Shodrei l'kamedu Rab Yirmiyah ba'aba l'shum tamya. He sent him with the Shaila to Shum Tamya. That's already a place not of Shmuel. Amar, Hacha Asra de Shmuel. Here, this is a place of Shmuel. Heichi Navid Kavasi de Rav. I don't want to paskin against Shmuel in his own locality. Now, Haid also the Kame de Rava. In this case, they said Meichayim Ubamavas. Meichayim, from life. Now, according to Rava, when you say Meichayim, it means from now. So, Ovid la Rava Kishmeitze. Rava said, I'm sorry, even though you got better, since you said Meichayim, from life, you can't get it back. Have a Katardole. She was really nagging him. Sheetis, not that way. She was really nagging him. So finally, in order to, calm her down, he couldn't deal with it. Amalei Rav Papa Bereid Rav Chanan Safrei. He said to Rav Papa, the son of Rav Chanan, his clerk, Zilk Soivla, go write it that it's hers, but add an addendum. Uksaiva Soicher Aleyen Oimatan. Now this is, if you remember, this is a borrowed phrase we had in Bava Metzia, that if you hired workers and they backed out and left you hanging, so you could hire people for more money and charge them the difference, or you could trick them and tell them that you'll pay them more and not pay them more. so that they should do what they promised. So by saying in the clause, trick them, it was a sign that what he wrote should not be followed by any court that she brings it to. She chapped. She wasn't a stupid woman. She was clever. She saw what she was doing. She saw that he embedded in the psak that that's not the halacha. Amra, she said to him a curse. Litba arbe, may your boat sink. Atuya kamatasli, you're trying to trick me? Now, if you remember, when somebody gets a curse, so they try to do something akin to the curse, like sometimes they would turn the chair upside down. That's the idea of an ofruf. You throw things at the chassan, that if he was supposed to get things thrown at him, it should be chal on this candy. So what they did is amshinu lamane derava b'maya. They soaked his clothing in water, so it should be chal that he sunk by soaking his clothing in the water, but it didn't help. His boat did sink. So that.
It doesn't usually help.
What?
If memory serves, it doesn't usually help when they do these things in the Gemara.
No, it's not true. It's not true.
I know another case where it didn't help.
It's not true.
Okay.
Now,
In this case,
it didn't help, no. In this case, the next case in the Mishnah, Chatzkel gave away his property. In the document that said that he gave away the property, it didn't identify him as a dying man. Loi kosaba shrimira. Who Chatzkel says, shrimira, I was a dying man, and now that I got better, I don't have to give it away. And they said, what are you talking about? You were healthy. And therefore the bequest, it goes through, you were healthy. So, the Rameya's opinion is that since it didn't say in the shtar that he was a dying man, so he has to prove that he was a dying man. Otherwise, we assume he was healthy, and it goes through the Rameya. The Chacham say, no. Chatzkel is the mulzik in the money. They want to take away the money from him. They have to prove that he wasn't a dying man. The Chacham now, Hahu matanta, there was a gift. Dahave kosova, here Chatzkel had a gift, and it was written in a gift, Kadav kotzer v'rami ba'arse, that he made the bequest when he was ill and lying in bed. But it doesn't say, and he died from it. Perhaps after he made the bequest, he rallied, he felt better, and only then he died. And then it wouldn't go to the one who he gave it to, it would go to the ocean. It doesn't say in it, umigav mare, and from that sickness, ifter lebeis olameh, he went to his resting place. So we don't know. We know the Chatzkel was sick, but we don't know if he died from the sickness. Or maybe he got better, and only then afterwards died. Once he got better, it came back to him. And now it goes to the ocean, and not to the one that he gave it to. By the way, the one that he gave it to was Berish. And so Berish wants it. So says the Gemara, Amar Rabbah, so Rabbah says, what are we gonna be concerned about? He's dead. He's buried. So he probably died from his sickness, and therefore it goes to Berish. Now, the reason for Rabbah is that Rabbah puts a tremendous strength on what's called chazaka dahashta, the chazaka of now. And since now he's dead, we assume he died from the time that he was lying down and he gave it to Berish. He didn't get better in the meantime. And therefore, it goes to Berish. The grave proves it. So Abaye doesn't like this. Abaye says, Amalei Abaye, hashta umas svina, if a boat is lost at sea, a boat was lost at sea, there was a terrible storm, and it was lost at sea, the din is sheruban la'aved. We assume that most of its passengers perish. Yet, the din is noisnin aleim chumrei chayim v'chumrei mesim. We say, for example, if there was a Bas Yisrael whose husband was on the boat and he was a Kayin, right, so she would normally eat Truma because of her husband. She can't eat Truma because we assume that maybe he died. On the other hand, if she was a Bas Kayin, married to Yisrael, so that if her husband dies, she doesn't have any children from him, she could go back to her father's home and eat Truma again because she's a Bas Kayin. But here we don't allow her to because we assume maybe the husband is alive. So we see that even though the majority die, we still put Chumrei Chayim, that maybe the husband is alive. Chaylin, in the case that somebody's on a sick bed, not a geisis, not he's in throes of death, he's in a sick bed. Chaylin, Shirayv Chaylin L'Chayim, the majority of sick people get better. So how could you say that just because he's dead now, he died after he made the bequest? So, like Kol Shechein, that we should say that maybe he got better, and if he got better, then it doesn't go to Berish. Even if he subsequently dies, it goes to the Yarship. So, what the Gemara now is going to do is the Gemara is going to show us how this depends on whether we go Basa, what we call Chazaka Dahashta or Chazaka D'Meikara. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Huna Bereider of Yeshua, Keman Ozlo Hashmaitza de Rabbah. Right, Rabbah says that since he made the bequest to Berish when he was on a sick bed and he died, we go Basar Chazaka Dahashta and assume that he was sick till he died, and therefore Berish gets it, he never got better. So the Gemara says that's like the opinion of Rav Nosson. The Tanya, mi maitzi miyad mi. Now, this is this is our case where, like we said in the Mishnah, where Baruch has a document that Chatzkel gave him all of his property. Right? Now, Chatzkel claimed that he was sick, and since he got better, he wants it back. Baruch gets nothing. Baruch says, I could hear Baruch saying it. Baruch is saying, sick schmick. You weren't sick. Sick. You weren't sick, you didn't even have a fever. And therefore you gave it to me as a matnas bari, and it's mine. So the Gemara says, the Tanya mi moitzi miyad mi. who could extract it? Can Baruch extract it from Chatzkel and say, you are a sick man, or could Chatzkel say, no, I was sick? So the Gemara says, who might see me down below Raya? The Chatzkel can take it away from Baruch without any proof. Without any proof. Now, that means that we go Basar Chazaka de Meikara. Chazaka de Meikara is we never saw Chatzkel sick. So we assume that he wasn't sick. The Hain, but Baruch Ein Metzim Yodai Ela Baraya Divrei Rabbi Yaakov. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yaakov. Rab Nosson Amar, Nosson says it really depends on how Chatzkel is now. In Barihu, if Chatzkel is healthy now, so the Chazaka de Hashda says that he's healthy now. We assume he was healthy before, and therefore it's awarded to Baruch. In Barihu, then Olav Lavi Raya, then it would be on Chatzkel a burden of proof she'yishchiv meirah, that he was sick at the time. Im shchiv meirah, if he's sick now, so then we would have to prove that he was healthy when he gave it. Alein, it would be on Baruch's Lahavi Raya Shebariyai. So again, Rabbah follows the view of Rab Nosson that we go primarily Basar Chazaka Dash. So the Gemara now says one more place where we have such a machlokes. Now, this is a valley, a bika. This valley has mechitzas around it that are 10 tefachim high. Now, it makes it to a certain extent a Rishus HaYachid for Shabbos. Only a certain extent. Actually, it's really a Carmelis, because it's an area that's loy hukaf ledira. It's not surrounded for living purposes. And a karpav shaloi hukaf ledira is a Carmelis. A Carmelis, midaraisa, is a Rishus HaYachid. So that you carry in it from the Rishus HaRam, you're chayav achatas. If you did it b'mezid, you get skila. And it's to that extent that we say that this area, this enclosed valley, is a Rishus HaYachid for Shabbos. Now remember, it's also very important to determine if something is a Rishus HaYachid for Tumah or Rishus HaRabim. Because if it's a Rishus HaRabim, Safek Tumah b'Rishus HaRabim is Tahar. If it's a Rishus HaYachid, then Safek Tumah b'Rishus HaYachid is Tameh. So says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Lazar u'letumah. In the question of Tumah k'machloikis, we will have the same machloikis between Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Nosson. The Tanan. Bika, a valley, which has a wall around it, 10 tefachim. So b'yamay in the summer, when the harvesters are walking all over there, they're not going to damage any of the seeds. It has a din of Rishus HaYachid l'Shabbos, since it has a wall of 10 tefachim around it, but it's a Rishus HaRabim l'Tumah, because people are walking, all the harvesters are walking there, and therefore, since it's a Rishus HaRabim l'Tumah, if there's a suffix there, suffix Tumah b'Rishus HaRabim is tar. B'yimaysa geshamim, when nobody walks there during the rain season, it's a Rishus HaYachid l'kan or l'kan. It's a Rishus HaYachid for both Tumah and for Shabbos. Now, this is the most abbreviated Gemara that you can imagine. What does this have to do with the machlokes between Reb Yaakov and Reb Nosson? What happens over here is somebody So somebody always gets himself into Marshall. So Marshall, Mamish picked you out of the hat. Just could have been any.
It's feeling better tonight, I see.
It could have been anybody. But anyway, Marshall has a suffix, but he doesn't know if it was during the rain season or during the summer season. Right? So what do? So Reb Nassan, who says that you go Basar Chazaka Dahashta, would say it depends when Marshall asked the question. If Marshall asked the question in the summer, so since we go Basar Chazaka Dahashta, we would say it's a Rishus Harabim, and therefore he's star. If he asked it during the rainy season, then we would say that he's tamei. That would be the way Reb Nassan would learn. Rabbi Yaakov, who says that we go Basar Chazaka Meikara, since Marshall himself has a Cheskas Tara, before the question arose, he had a Cheskas Tara, so we would say Marshall is Tar. Now, Rava adds one more caveat over here. By the way, it's astounding to me how these Gemaras are not easy at all. Really. If you find these Gemaras easy, then I think you should get evaluated. The Gemara now says, Amar Rava, when do we say that the summer is considered like a Rishus Harabim, that everybody goes there? That's only before they started planting. It was a summer before they started planting. But once they plant, people don't go there even in the summer. Amar Rava, Lo shanu ela shaloi avro lav yemaisa geshama. The only time where we say this summer has a din of Rishus Harabim is only where it didn't pass a rain season after they planted it. Aval avro lav yemaisa geshama, once they planted it, so people don't walk in the summer either because they don't want to trample the crops. And then Rishus HaYachid L'kana L'kana, it's a Rishus HaYachid for Tumah as well, even in the summer. Now Rabbi say a few things. I did the Mishnah Yomos already. Tomorrow Hashem should give me, it's already Wednesday tomorrow, right?
No, Tuesday.
What?
Tuesday.
Oh, tomorrow's Tuesday.
Tomorrow's Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay. We don't have a...
Somebody else has got to be evaluated here, huh?
Yeah, we don't have yet a sponsor for the Chumash here, so if anybody wants to sponsor, 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful day.